ever wondered what lurks beneath the surface of the internet you use every day? The cute cat videos, the endless scrolling through social media, those are just the tip of the iceberg. Today, we're taking a plunge into the uncharted territory of the deep web, the dark web, and venturing into some places you might not even want to know exist. Let's get started with the part of the internet you're most familiar with, the surface web. Imagine the internet as a colossal iceberg floating in a deep ocean. What you see above the water, the visible tip, is the surface web, also known as the visible web, index web, or light net. It's like walking into a massive, well-organized library where every book is easy to find thanks to a meticulously maintained index. The surface web is what you use every day. Popular sites like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Reddit. These are the spaces where we watch videos, chat with friends, share photos, and read the news. It's all about accessibility and ease. Search engines like Google and Bing crawl an index. These sites make them readily available at your fingertips. But here's the thing, this visible part of the internet only makes up about 4% of the total online space. Yes, you heard that right, just 4%. So what lies beneath the surface? Beneath the surface lies the Bergie Web, a shadowy layer where things start to get a bit tricky. The Bergie Web is like a hidden section of that library where the books aren't officially cataloged. They're there, but you need to know exactly where to look to find them. This is the part of the internet that isn't accessible through standard search engines. It includes websites that are blocked in certain countries, such as YouTube in China, or specific forums and platforms that have been banned for various reasons. For instance, sites that offer pirated movies or games fall into this category. Accessing the Bergie Web isn't as simple as typing a query into Google. You often need specific software, a direct link, or precise knowledge of what you're looking for. A good example is unlisted YouTube videos. They exist, but you can't find them through a search. You need the direct link. The Bergie Web occupies a kind of gray area. It's not as dark or dangerous as the deeper levels of the internet, but it's not entirely innocent either. It's like wandering into a part of town where you don't quite know the rules, and not everything is what it seems. Now, let's take a step further into the abyss, the dark web. This is the part of the internet that's often sensationalized in movies and the media, but few truly understand its complexities. The dark web is like a secret underground network hidden beneath the layers of the internet that most of us use daily. To access the dark web, you need specialized software like the Tor browser, which stands for the Onion router. The name Onion is quite fitting. Just as the Onion has layers, so does the Tor network, with each layer designed to protect your anonymity. When you send a message or access a site on the dark web, it's like sending a letter through a labyrinth of tunnels. Only the entry and exit points are known, while the path in between is obscured. Anonymity is the cornerstone of the dark web, which is why it's a double-edged sword. On the one hand, it's a haven for privacy advocates, journalists, and activists who need to operate away from prying eyes. On the other hand, it's a breeding ground for illegal activities, from drug trafficking to the sale of counterfeit goods. But before you start imagining the dark web as a lawless Wild West, let's set the record straight. Law enforcement agencies are very active here. They monitor, track, and frequently shut down illegal operations. Think of it like a cat-and-mouse game. Criminals and law enforcement are constantly adapting to each other's moves. The dark web is home to a vast digital marketplace where almost anything can be bought for the right price. Here, personal information is disturbingly cheap. Credit card details, online bank logins, and even accounts for services like Uber and Netflix are sold for relatively small amounts of money. On the more serious end of the spectrum, passports and other forms of identification can fetch thousands of dollars. Much like eBay or Amazon, these illegal marketplaces have their own systems of ratings and reviews. It's an unsettling thought, but just as you'd check reviews before buying a product on Amazon, buyers on the dark web do the same to ensure they're actually getting what they've paid for. Also, among the many nefarious services on offer, there are hacking services where you can hire someone to break into accounts, crash websites, or even frame others by planting illegal content on their computers. These services often operate under the cloak of cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, adding another layer of complexity and making it all feel very sneaky and underground. One of the most notorious corners of the dark web was the Silk Road, an underground marketplace that epitomized the dangers and allure of this hidden world. Launched in 2011 by Ross Ulbricht under the pseudonym Dread Pirate Roberts, the Silk Road was envisioned as a free market experiment that pushed the boundaries of privacy and anonymity. Utilizing Tor and Bitcoin, Silk Road quickly became a hub for the sale of illegal drugs and other contraband, attracting thousands of vendors and buyers from around the globe. Ulbricht's platform operated outside the reach of government surveillance, making it easy and relatively safe for users to buy and sell narcotics. However, the success of Silk Road inevitably drew the attention of law enforcement. Despite Ulbricht's efforts to protect his identity and the operations of the site, he made several digital slip-ups that led investigators to suspect him. In 2013, Ulbricht was arrested in a public library in San Francisco after briefly leaving his laptop logged into the Silk Road administrator panel, a critical mistake that allowed FBI agents to swoop in and catch him red-handed. The downfall of Silk Road was a major victory for law enforcement, but it also highlighted the challenges of policing the dark web. Even as one marketplace was shut down, others quickly emerged to take its place, creating a seemingly endless game of whack-a-mole. Anyways, moving on to one of the most infamous and chilling rumors surrounding the dark web: hitmen for hire. It's a concept that's been sensationalized in countless horror stories, but how much truth is there to it? While the idea of hiring a hitman online might sound like something out of a thriller novel, the reality is much more complicated and often far less dramatic. Take the case of rentahitman.com, a site that was initially created as clickbait. Bob Ines, the website owner, had intended it to be a clever play on the word hit, as in website traffic. However, he soon discovered that people were actually using the site to request real-life murders. In 2010, Ines received a disturbing email from a woman named Helen in Canada who wanted to have 3 relatives killed over an inheritance dispute. Recognizing the seriousness of the situation, Ines contacted law enforcement, leading to Helen's arrest. Rentahitman.com has since become a tool for catching individuals with harmful intentions, but the vast majority of so-called hitman services on the dark web are either scams or traps set up by law enforcement. In other words, while the idea of hiring a hitman online is a tantalizing plot device, it's not something that holds up to scrutiny in the real world. Perhaps one of the most terrifying and persistent myths about the dark web is the existence of red rooms. These are alleged live-streamed events where viewers can watch and sometimes even participate in acts of extreme violence, including torture and murder. The idea is that you pay a fee, usually in Bitcoin, to enter these secret rooms where the worst of humanity is on display. But here's the thing: despite many stories and urban legends, there's no concrete evidence that red rooms actually exist. Streaming live video without being detected on the dark web is technically very challenging, and the idea that someone would have the skills to set up such a system while also being deranged enough to carry out these acts seems far-fetched. Most experts believe that red rooms are nothing more than modern-day ghost stories, designed to terrify and fascinate in equal measure. While there are certainly dark and disturbing corners of the internet, the likelihood of red rooms being real is extremely low. However, as we venture even deeper, we enter the most depraved and disturbing parts of the dark web. This is where the truly unspeakable happens, where the darkest corners of the human psyche are given free rein. One such infamous platform was 8chan, a site notorious for its extreme content. 8chan, which was already considered a more unregulated and dangerous version of 4chan, gained a reputation for being filled with problematic content. That eventually led to its removal from Google's search results. However, there's an even darker version of this platform, 8chan.dmo, a site on the dark web that harbors content far worse than its surface web counterpart. Like 4chan, 8chan.dmo has boards on a wide range of topics, from anime to fitness. But there's one particular board that stands out for all the wrong reasons. A place where mostly men post extremely disturbing videos and images involving their pets, mainly dogs, in illegal and sickening ways. The details of this board are too graphic to describe, but suffice it to say, it represents the very worst of what the dark web has to offer. In this depraved realm, revenge pornography has also found a home. One particularly notorious site was Pink Meth. This site allowed users to anonymously upload explicit photos of their exes without their permission. Not only did it feature these images, but it also included victims' personal information and links to their social media profiles, making it a platform for harassment and abuse on a devastating scale. Pink Meth's heinous activities eventually caught the attention of law enforcement. In November 2014, as part of Operation Onimus, a major crackdown on illegal dark web activities, Pink Meth was finally shut down, along with over 24 other sites. Despite this victory, the identities of those who ran Pink Meth and whether they faced any legal consequences remain unclear to this day. These examples highlight the most disturbing aspects of the dark web, places where humanity's darkest impulses are given free rein, and where the consequences of these actions are often left unchecked. It's important to remember that not everything on the dark web is inherently evil. In fact, the anonymity provided by the dark web has been a crucial tool for journalists, activists, and others who need to operate in dangerous or oppressive environments. For instance, the dark web has been used by whistleblowers to share sensitive information without fear of retribution. It has also been a lifeline for people living under repressive regimes, allowing them to communicate and organize without the risk of being tracked by their governments. Only a small fraction of Tor users actually visit the illicit parts of the dark web. The majority use it for legitimate purposes, such as accessing information that might be censored in their countries or protecting their privacy from invasive surveillance. So there you have it, a guided tour through the various layers of the internet, from the familiar surface web to the murky depths of the dark web. The internet is a vast and complex landscape, with each level offering its own unique challenges and opportunities. As we've seen, while the dark web is often portrayed as a haven for criminals, it's also a vital tool for those seeking privacy and freedom in a world that's increasingly monitored and controlled. But it's not a place for the faint of heart. Venture there at your own risk. And remember, no matter how deep you dive, there's always more beneath the surface.